much for joining Rachel and I. You're probably wondering what's going on with the mask, and we'll get to that in just a second here. But we're very, very excited to have you here for a session that we are calling We Built It, Why Aren't They Buying? So we're going to talk an interactive method for clarifying your market message. We're going to have a whole lot of fun today. We're going to play some games. We're going to do some nostalgia. And the first 100 people who get in are going to, they're going to be able to join us live. So let your friends know you've got to get in. So if you're in, you're in.
Get
we're really
in, get on the Miro
here.
board.
Yeah, get in on the Miro board. So what we're going to do today is we are going to go over several different things that we can use to keep ourselves from getting into. I'm going to have to take this off because I can't see what you guys are. I can't see you guys. So you guys have probably experienced this in your life if you're a technical communicator, a founder, a product team lead, something like that. You've done an awesome demo. You've done an awesome pitch. It was technically accurate, and then you're getting like blank stares. People aren't paying attention to you. Right? So what we want to do is we want to kind of unpack that. And one of those things that we're going to do is we're going to look at the problem. So today we're going to talk about how to fail at marketing or any technical communication. All right? Nobody likes that idea, but that's okay. And one of the things is you've probably gone a little too deep. Right? You've gotten too technical. You've gotten too technical too fast. Or you've gone to the other side and you're focusing on a little bit more too much design. So if I just pull up my friends here, I want to tell you a story about Donatello and Michelangelo. Donatello's the brains. Everything he does is technology. Michelangelo, he is all about the party guy, right? So, but they have to work together. And so what we need in the middle is a master splinter. And I'm not saying that's going to be us today.
Which one am I, Joel?
Oh, you're the gal in the chair, right? There's always someone in the chair. But what we're going to talk about are the foundations. So not tech, not design. We're going to talk about getting into the foundations here. That's how we fix it. By bringing balance of emotion, logic, credibility. We're going to talk about how we create a system for your messaging, and then deciding for your content what's in and what's out. But first, you're probably wondering, who are these weirdos? So an introduction, my name is Joel. I'm a message therapist, a former theater nerd, video game tester. I became an IT guy and I did all the things. And then I got out the other end and I worked in marketing. So what I do now is I do kind of like a message therapy thing with founders and tech people. And joining me, I'm so pleased to have Rachel, because she's going to make this really sing on the Miro board. Rachel, please introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Rachel, and I'm a workshop experience designer. That's what I like to call myself, because workshops aren't just the time in the session, it's the entire experience. I'm also a facilitator. I like to call myself a bringer of joy and energy. I share Joel's love of theater here with my improv love. And I also call myself a woman of wonder. I like to bring curiosity into things. And I've been doing communication strategy, all those things for almost 20 years now, and just bringing in a lot of the workshop experience design in the last 5 years with my own consulting company.
All right, awesome.
All right.
So I want to start out before we get into the Miro board and talk a little bit about the foundations and what we're going to talk about. Because today I'm going to share with you something kind of brand new. It is something that I have designed to trick the nerds into sharing their feelings. So if we switch back over here to my overhead camera, I love playing with cards. I love playing with toys. It's obvious. And one of the things that I always tried to do with my clients was remind them that there are 3 basic objectives for every type of communication you're doing. Somebody has to like you, they have to understand you, and they have to believe you, right? This is emotion, logic, and credibility. I borrowed these from Aristotle, so again, it's nothing new. But most people who do technical communications or technical marketing, they're kind of stuck here, right? They're stuck in that logic. They want to tell. So if you're a founder, you've built something, you love what you've built, but when you start to talk about it or we start to do marketing, it becomes an academic exercise, and we're just like, hello and welcome to my SaaS B2B page and buy my stuff, right? We don't love you yet, and you haven't shown us any credibility. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how do we really balance that out? And we need to do that by systematizing our message across a framework. And so you may be familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I stole this from him. That's okay. He stole it from the Blackfoot Native American tribe. So most people are stuck down here in technical details, which are like those high density, low emotion concepts, right? And so if you've put up a web page and you put all the technical information on the front, what you haven't done is warm somebody up. You haven't really brought them through what we call a marketing funnel. We're not going to do the marketing funnel today, but we can sort
Good.
of yeah, we can sort of simulate that by bringing people down from like a big idea, a story, a value. And I bump into a lot of technical people who are like, "Bro, I just built a thing. I don't really have time to talk about this. I just want to do my marketing." And I'm like, "Oh, that's very interesting. What are some gaps that you're seeing in the marketplace?" And all of a sudden, those technical people, those founders, their eyes light up and they're like, "Well, you know what? I do this because blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, "That's awesome. Let's write that down." Or, what's the inspiration to action in your industry? Why do you and your audience get up in the morning, right? So basically what I've done here is I've created a card deck that is like a cross between tarot cards and ChatGPT. But instead of prompting the computer, we're asking a smart person. And so we go through all of these cards. Well, not all of these cards. There's about 280 cards in the whole system. But we work through and we're writing our answers down on the back. So typically we do this with an audience of like 12 people, right? Today, we're going to be doing this on a Miro board with about 100 or so. So we're going to see what happens.
Let's see how many
Right?
people.
So let's go ahead and jump on over. You can unspotlight me. You can drop, Rachel can start sharing. And what we're going to do is we're going to do this whole exercise, which is normally about 3 hours, in the next 40 minutes. So let's go.
All right, let's do it. All right. So we're
So
gonna start with our pyramid here, right, Joel?
Yes. So what I've done here is I've put the pyramid up so that everybody can get familiar with how the model works and how it looks. I'm going to talk through each of these levels as we go through the system today. But what I want you to do is we want to do like a warm-up exercise. So why don't you go ahead, Rachel, and tell us what we're doing here as far as a warm-up exercise.
All right, and I brought everyone to me on the screen. It was more people are popping onto the screen. So for some reason you don't see where we are, just click on my avatar and you'll be able to follow me on the Miro board. So what we're gonna do here is grab your yellow sticky and we want you to write your role. And so we have Joel and they're my workshop experience designer. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna answer this question over here. I'm gonna go slowly so I don't make you dizzy. Write out your role on the sticky note. Click, hold, and drag your sticky note to where you focus the most in your messaging today. And we're going to see where everyone kind of falls on this pyramid. So I think Joel and I are really very similar here in idea and story. And there's no wrong answers here. Just think about this moment in time. Where do you fall in your messaging? And that's what we're gonna see. I see all the stickies moving here. We've got some
Awesome.
CEOs in the room. We've got some project manager. We've got our rogue person with the white sticky note. That's totally cool. We're good with rogue and weird, right, Joel?
That's right. And so basically what we're doing here is this whole workshop is intended to bring together people who speak differently, who have different areas of the message. So oftentimes in an organization, you'll have sales teams talking one way and developers talking another way, and marketing is doing whatever the heck it is that marketing does, right? But we're not all in alignment. So the way this workshop works is we want to have people who have those varying roles. We want to have technical people. I want developers in the room. I want marketing and sales and CEOs and those people with the big ideas. And everybody by the end of the workshop is going to contribute just basically what they want what they want to talk about the most, but we're going to create a unified messaging system. And yeah, if you're curious about the cards, I'm going to talk about those a little bit towards the end. I do have those for sale, and I do have a goodie for Miro.
Little discount, right? That we're going to drop in the chat afterwards. And we'll also put that on the board, which we share afterwards. So you'll have the link there.
All right, Becca, I see your question about the proof points. I'm gonna go through each of these from top to bottom, yeah, we're gonna dig into some of these. We're probably gonna do the top 3 with the exercise, but then I'm gonna get in and talk about what all the other ones are. So this is looking awesome. So we've got a real balanced group here, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
we
again,
oh,
yeah,
go ahead, Joel. Yeah. I was saying we have a real I see some CEOs at the top, I see some COOs at the bottom, I see some marketing people, product owners.
yeah.
We've got a really good
Shout
mix
out to
of
my
roles
database
as well.
administrator, right? I tell you what, I am a nerd through and through. I'm a nerd that talks good, and I love it. Um, so happy to have you here. So we're
All
gonna get you
right.
talking about your feelings too. So let's just take a step back. What do we have here? So
We're
what we're
going to
gonna
our
do. So the
challenge.
challenge we have is
I'm
there
going
are
to
two
bring everyone
challenges.
here.
There's two
All
challenges.
right.
One challenge is normally we do this workshop with a team of people who are all in the same company. So we all have sort of a basic understanding and a context. So today we have to pretend. And so what we're going to do is we're
We're
all
good
going
at
to be,
that.
yeah, we're good at that. We're all going to be part of a company, but I want to set the stage. So our challenge today, in a world
Woo.
where your data is everywhere, even superheroes need help keeping their secrets.
And that's why we have our secret identity. Well,
That's
mine's
right.
not a mask, but we've got, so today we're going to be, let's say our company is called Helpful Heroes, and we're looking at this challenge of keeping superheroes secrets safe. And that could be a technical tool, it could be a technical approach. That is where we're coming from today. And that is how you're going to answer all of the prompts to come from that point of view. Put yourself in that helpful heroes shoes today. I was going to say, is there like a superhero alternative of shoes? But I guess they wear shoes. That was
Boots,
a silly
high highs.
boots, superhero boots. Put yourself in those superhero boots today, and we're going to answer the prompts from that point of view.
Right. Now,
So
it's
let's
a little bit of a challenge because we don't really know what this product is. So that's why we're not going to get into the technicals and stuff. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through the first three cards in the system. And the first of those is the big idea card. And again, this is that touchy-feely thing. These are those big thematic elements that they have to be a part of everything you do with your brand messaging, your story, your sales, right? It has to be that common thread that everybody is on board with. And it's kind of hard when you're technical to think about that. You feel it, but we need a way to get that out. So I've selected three cards. And what we're going to do is we're going to work through one of them. I'm going to just give you an example of how the workshop works. So the three cards we have here to choose from are industry, injustice, and opportunity. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do voting with Miro. Rachel, how are we going to do it here?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do voting with Miro, like Joel said. There is a built-in voting feature, but the way we translated this physical card deck activity to Miro today is we really like the visual aspect of being able to click, hold, and drag voting onto what we're doing. So we want everyone now to just take one vote each who's in our interactive session and click, hold, and drag to which card, which prompt you want us to actually work through an interactivity with. Interactive activities. Wow, interactive activity with today. Now you see we have these little arrows here. Don't click on those quite yet. I'll show you what those are and how you can build those into your Miro boards as well. So everyone here, come, I'm going to bring everyone to me if they're not to me yet, and just click, hold, and drag. And I'm going to go down here. I'm going to vote opportunity.
Yeah. And the way we would do this in the workshop is if you've got a facilitator, again, it can be facilitator led. It can also be like personally led. You can do it yourself. So when I sell the cards, I sometimes include a little color coded die, which lets you just sort of roll like what random number do I want. So we're going to let the vote settle in here. Oh, you can change your vote, by the way. Don't let.
Like no wrong answer.
There's no wrong answer.
I wanted to add here, though, usually in a workshop like this, like Joel, that you would be running with a client, you might not have them vote on which card. We're doing this today just because we have a limited amount of time, although it is kind of interesting to see which the client is most interested in answering first as well, if you want to put that question up to them.
All right, so it looks
it looks like opportunity.
We're settling into the opportunity. That's awesome. So now again, the whole if we had every card out on a Miro board, there would be like 100 different cards. How do you switch from one screen or one view to another really quickly? How do we pull out that opportunity card from the stack Rachel.
Yeah, and so what one thing that's really important when you're doing a virtual experience with card decks is to your wayfinding, right? Okay, you can't really like flip this card over, but let's use a hot link here where we linked to an area of the board, right? So now you can see that we've gone right to this area of the board with opportunity where we have the card at the top and our prompt below. And I'm going to bring everyone to me then on the board so you can actually see that in your interactive board. And the way we've done that is we've used an invisible box that we've linked that card to.
All right.
All
That
right.
was really cool. When you showed that to me, I was like, that is super slick. Because when I tried to do this, I was totally lost. So let's pretend that we've pulled the opportunity card. Now, this is kind of a special one because it's a big idea, but you'll notice that we've got those icons in the top there. So we've got that emotion, that logic, and that credibility. So this card is trying to get us to actually get to a logical big idea, which is okay. You can have a logical big idea, but it has to be clear and it has to be really concise. And you can have a couple of big ideas too. So normally we would do 3, 4, 5 different cards of each type, but today we're just going to do one. But the way this works is normally in a workshop, I would have people writing on the backs of the cards or filling out stickies or using note cards. And we just happen to have stickies and note cards in Miro. So think about our problem. So we're living in a world, data is everywhere, superheroes are having a hard time keeping their own secrets. So we're a company, we've built something. Let's just pretend that what is the opportunity that we see? And again, technology driven. So grab a sticky note and just start plopping ideas down, just whatever you want to do. I think we probably should put some time up for
Yeah,
this.
so we're going to use the Miro timer today. We're actually going to use it without music because we're going to actually talk through this. We actually have some questions in the chat there we can answer. So, Joel, what would be an example, right? So, before people start, that you might throw an example up here, an example answer.
Sure. So let me show you what you don't necessarily want to do, right? So this is again is a big idea. So I'm going to say this one is we need to build a cloud-based identity, and if you can't spell, that's okay. Management system. Ooh, wow, a cloud-based identity management system. Does that sound like a big idea to you guys? Right? And by the way, you can use the
Wah,
emojis and
wah.
responses.
Yes, please use your emojis here and respond to us on the Miro board so that we can actually see how you're reacting.
Right. So I've pulled, right? So I'm a very technical person and my opportunity that I see as my big idea is like a little bit too crazy, right? So what we also have as part of the cards, which I didn't talk about, are like my Uno reverse cards. These are my facilitator cards. So it's kind of like if you see somebody putting an idea down that's a little, that doesn't fit the stack, you can pull out this. So Rachel just dropped down, there we go, the strip it card. So this one is like that, remove any technical terms or jargon from this card. Yes, even that one term you really, really love. So this is sort of facilitating a conversation with the person who put down that card to get them to rethink, get them to reframe. So again, if you can't say what you think you want to say without the technical terms, you probably don't really understand the intent of what you're trying to talk about.
Explain it to me like I'm 5, right? Eli 5.
Yeah, Eli 5, right? Take all the technical out of it because you don't want your headline or that first thing that somebody sees on social media, that big idea, to be like overly technical. So that's what these cards are really good for.
And Joel, what are you seeing here? Let's look at some of these and see if they're fitting the prompt. What do we see?
Let's see. AI superhero 3D printed weapons. Oh, I dig that. Superheroes need to trust their data is safe. Superhero data privacy, right? Here we go. We need to build an honest. I love these. Oh, superheroes don't like technology.
Community.
I think Batman might have something to say about that one. But I love
Thor
these
doesn't
ideas.
really like technology. I've got the Thor on. Yeah, modern superheroes, right? Like who are we appealing to, right?
That's right. I mean, you're wearing Thor, right? So he was not very technological,
No.
but he would probably adopt technology if he had to. So
Yeah.
This is awesome. I love all these ideas. And you can put more down, right? So again, the idea is we're just churning, we're just creating different ideas. And what's great about this model when we do it in a workshop, and even when we're doing it in Miro, is it's a parallel activity. So oftentimes when you're doing like a brand discovery, Iron Man, I love that. You're doing a brand discovery or something like that. Your discussions go nowhere because it becomes a negotiation. I, as the facilitator, ask a question. Maybe the CEO talks first. No one else wants to talk after the CEO, or you speak, somebody counters. It becomes, again, a negotiation. It goes back and forth. What we're doing here is we're actually facilitating a parallel activity. We call it a forward-facing activity, where we're all just getting our thoughts out of our heads and onto the cards. And then I'm going to talk a little bit later about how do we make sense of all this. So this is good.
Yeah.
I love heroes
All
make a
right.
small part of the population. That's right, but they're a pretty big risk if one of them
That's right.
gets outed, right?
Yeah, that absolutely. So I'm going to show you a little bit about where we're going to go next on this board. You'll see our little wayfinding down here where it says next up stories. We're using our hot link again. And so it brings us to our stories. And I'm actually going to bring everyone to me on here. We're going to do another voting activity after Joel explains stories, the
All
stories
right.
category of the card.
So stories are how we connect with the day-to-day lived experience of our audiences, right? And storytelling gets kind of a bad rap. It's kind of a little bit cliche in marketing. We don't have to say once upon a time, but what we do want to do is we want to start connecting and showing that we're building that empathy and that credibility with our audience. So we want to put ourselves in the shoes of the audience, and we want to kind of connect. There's a really great book that I've got, which is called The Storytelling Animal, and I would highly recommend you read
Do
that.
you have a book that I don't have, Joel?
Do you have that book?
I don't think so.
The Storytelling Animal by Jonathan Gottschall. It's a
Oh my
phenomenal book,
goodness.
but it
Going on
talks
my
about
list.
how stories make us human. I'll grab a book like all the time. So, but what we're going to do is we want to just sort of go into a couple different here. Um, so, what did we say? Love facilitation tips when managing big-minded minds and egos so everyone can be heard. That's right, because
Yes.
quite often, the person with the biggest one of these or who's writing the check, they're the only person who shares. And so,
Get
what
rid
we
of
want to
Hippo,
do,
highest paid person's
yeah,
opinion,
the
right,
highest
Joel?
paid.
Highest page. Yep.
So
So
let's look at these.
go.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna give a quick tip there for everyone to so that everyone could be heard. You saw that we were putting down ideas individually. That's a really great message to start, or a great approach to start with your input individually so that people who aren't those think in public type people and speaking up, they might not want to speak up right away. So a virtual board like this really helps to get people's ideas down individually. And then Joel's going to show a next step where we come together and we do some clustering, we do some group discussion. You can always fit in there like a breakout room session where we do a small group in between. So you've got individual, small group, and then large group. And that helps everyone's perspectives and voices be heard, even if they're not comfortable speaking up in a large group.
Right, and the cards can actually be used, or the prompts can be used asynchronously. So you could use these cards as a survey, or you could bring people. But it's a whole lot more fun when you have people doing it together. So like we're doing now. Okay,
Yeah.
so the stories we're going to look at here, we can choose between before and after, the hero's tale. So I kind of get down on Joseph
Ooh.
Campbell a little bit, but I love hero's tale, and the tension. Now, I know which one I would pick, but let's go ahead and do
Oh.
a minute just to get everybody to. Oh, I'm actually in the Zoom. I'm not on the board. Here we go. Um, let's go ahead and I don't want to stack the
Well,
deck
I
for
know I'm
everybody.
picking Hero's Tale there.
It's
You are too. So
appropriate.
everyone click, hold, and drag your little lightning bolts there. We also had a question in the chat, Joel, about this template and about what we would be providing. This particular template was made specifically for this, but I know we were thinking about having a teaser template. Is that right?
That's right. I'm working on a template that we can share that is this one that has just some of the samples, and then it takes a while to build a really interactive Miro board, but I will have available eventually the full deck in Miro form if you want to have that. So the deck is
Yes.
available in physical cards. You can download the images to use in your own PowerPoints, your own presentations. We'll have Miro, and I'm actually available on Deckable. So if you've never used Deckable, for those of you card people who love having your card decks. You can actually download Deckable on Apple iOS and Android, and you can have a whole bunch of decks like right in your hand, which this was the coolest thing. So a lot
And
of
you
different
will have
ways you can.
access to this board though, right, Joel? We're going to
Yes,
give
this
access to
board.
this board as comment only. It's just not as a template. You'll get access to templates in a different way, and we'll be happy to provide that. So look how close these votes are. I'm going to show you a little trick, actually.
Uh-oh.
So we can actually, I don't know, let's use a sticky note because those are shaped. So we're going to put just a blank sticky note here. And then when I go in here and I highlight these, you're going to see right here, it says 12 objects, right? So those lightning bolts are images, and that sticky note is a sticky note. You have to make sure you have more than one type of thing for this to work. Because if I just highlighted all images, it wouldn't show up with this drop down. But right now it tells me I have 11 images. So we've got, that might include that locked one. Let's see. Yes, it does. So technically we have 10 images. So you're counting that block. So we've got 10 lightning bolts there. Let's move our sticky note here, and we'll highlight this and see, oh, that's not doing so we got, it's a tie between Hero's Tail, and I think Tensions has less
I
here.
can fix that.
So that's
I'll
7.
fix that right now.
Oh, Hero's Tail. All right. Looks like Hero's Tail has 1. All right.
All right. Let's talk about the
Okay.
hero's tale. And this is great because, again, not a lot of this stuff is new. So, ripped off Aristotle, ripped off Maslow. Now we're going to rip off
Remix, not ripped off. These are remixes.
Remixed. So a lot of people talk about the hero's tale, right? But one of the challenges we have as technical communicators is we often want to be the hero. So I see this a lot with my cybersecurity clients. I'm going to save the day, and my product is going to be the thing that protects you. And most people who are trying to learn about a technology get put off by the hero mentality. And so the hero's tale that we want to remember is we're telling a hero story about your consumer. So you are not the hero in the story, you're the guide. You're the Splinter, you are the Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? And so what I want to do is let's think about how we can tell a story directly to our audience, directly to the consumers that we're talking to, a story about them being successful and being empowered and having a great experience because of us, right? So we take a step back. And so again, grab a sticky, start plopping some ideas down. Sometimes it's great to start with just, we don't need to do once upon a time, but you can say you are something, something, something. And then that can be the prompt, and then you just take the you off earlier. So again, stories are about connecting with your audience. How can we connect with our superhero audience?
What's a good example, Joel, that you want to maybe pop one on a sticky for us there?
Yeah, how about
we're going to set a quick little 1-minute timer for everyone.
I'm going to take this upper corner here, and I'm going to say, you are the hero to your family. Protect them, right? So you're more, or you are, how about this, more than a hero to your family, right? So we're now appealing. It's kind of like a technique of like doing a sell through, right? We want to so what we just did there was almost like the so what. So Rachel dropped down the focus card for so what. So I started out with you're a hero. But no, we're more than a hero. So think about this. I love the superheroes have enough to worry about. Data privacy shouldn't be one of them. I love that one. That is great. Awesome, right? So again, the idea here is we're looking for how we can connect with the experience of our audience, how they can say, these people understand me. So again, this one, Hero's Tale, this one is triggering emotion. So we do kind of want a big emotional thing, but it has to be logical. Oh, time's up. Let's see how many cards we have filled out for here. This one, not so many, and I get it. These are sometimes you're on the spot. It's a hypothetical thing. Oh, awesome, thank you. It's a hypothetical situation, but oftentimes you can prompt your people by asking them, put yourself in this situation, or when you were X, Y, and Z, when you were the CFO, what were the things that that you experienced or that you were worried about? So again,
Yeah.
This is great. I love that you can save the world now, save your identity from evildoers. Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, and that's
Right?
a great one to
Evildoers.
start with, but you might ask, so what? You might continue to ask that
Yeah.
question as you build out that hero story. Okay, that you're going to save your identity from evildoers. So what?
Yeah. So
Right?
what? And again, I mean, this is a great technique for getting into people's heads. I actually have a card which is called the villain, and I cannot believe I didn't use it. But the villain
I
is like
know.
putting the name to that bad guy or that thing that everybody is talking about. But if you can give it a proper name, so if I were a soap company and or detergent company, and I was like, hey. 9 out of 10 people have a stinky sock problem and they don't even know about it. And have you ever considered your stinky sock problem? And if you start saying stinky sock problem with capital S's several times, the person you're talking to is immediately going to go, I didn't realize I had a stinky sock problem, but I think I have a stinky sock problem. So again, it's like, how do you engage and tell a story? And again, you're the person who has identified that villain. You're that person who's identified that hero's tale, and you're the one who is now going to be able to deliver on it. So yeah, that's awesome. All right.
Yeah. All
So
right.
let's
Let's go to
see.
our next. Oh, or let's go to our next section, right? Values.
Yes.
Or did you want to take a look at a bit more? We guess here's got a heart. You protect us, we protect you.
I love that.
We're all in it. You're not alone.
Yeah, no, let's get to the last one that we'll talk about, and then I
Yeah.
want to talk about the other cards. So again, this
Yeah.
is a workshop that will typically sometimes take 2 to 3 hours. We're just doing a couple here.
We're going super quick. We're like the Flash.
Do my Mario
All
music.
right. Let's
So
go to values.
a lot of people think a value is like your mission, vision, values. Those are the things that we hold dear. But really, we want to be thinking in terms of, again, what's in it for our audience. Those value proposition statements, those things that they get out of the relationship we have with them. So what are they going to get out of listening to you, right? And so again, the best ones of these are developed by listening closely to your audience. What is it they want or they don't want? So this is answering that classic what's in it for me question, but there are different types of values. So let's look at the cards that we've got here. We can talk about intangible values. We can talk about tangible values, things you actually get, or we can talk about superpowers. I don't want to put my cape on the, or my Thor's hammer on the scale again, but let's go ahead and just really quickly, let's just do like 30 seconds to vote on this one.
Yep. Let's get a quick vote on intangibles, tangibles, or superpowers. Which prompt are we going to look at today?
Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Oh, intangibles is getting
Oh,
some.
intangibles.
This is
Well, that's
great
a
because
hard one, right?
intangibles
Intangibles
are
is a
very
hard one.
hard.
Yeah. All right. Get a little voted. Oh, we got the Post-it note already going over there. They know how to use the technique we taught. Look at that.
That's
They're
awesome.
kind of close, but it looks like intangibles is winning.
Yeah.
Let's
Now,
get our
what's really interesting here is nobody's picking tangibles, right? Because we've
yeah.
seen this. That is a very like a mundane, technical. If you're trying to communicate the value that you provide somebody only from a tangible aspect, that's like table stakes, right? There's probably a dozen of you out there who do the same thing. So what you have to do is you have to start talking about those intangibilities. How are you going to change their life? Or those superpowers. I'm kind of bummed we didn't do superpowers, but
All right, we're going to go to intangibles. Let's have at it.
All right. So again,
Bring everyone to me.
What intangible upshots do you offer? What are those things? And again, intangible. This can be an emotion. This can also be logical, right? So we're talking about what is the experience. So it's not we reduce your exposure to bad guys by 37%. It is we give you that sense of security and that credibility, right? We give you peace of mind. Peace of mind is intangible, but boy, don't we all wish we had a little bit of peace of mind. So go ahead and let's do about another minute and throw those down.
Let's get a minute. All right. Yeah, those intangibles are hard sometimes, even to articulate them, right, Joel? Articulating an intangible. We've got sense of security, unlocking teams superpowers.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Uh,
What's great about this process is it can be iterative. So once you
mhm.
get the juices flowing and once you get people thinking, you can return back and you can do a cycle through and reevaluate. So, um, but what are people? So if we're able to protect their secret identities, what are
Woo!
we? What are they? That was fun. What are they now going to be doing? What are they? What are they getting out of this? Hypercharge your superpowers with new tech. See, I love that. See, that's very close to the superpower, which again, like the villain, it is. Can you put a name to it? Can you put a proper name? So I actually kind of love this. Sleep like a baby. I love that. Oh, time's up. Let's see.
Yeah,
Oh,
I put the own it card on there. Like, how
yeah.
can we
So you
say
keep the world
this
safe.
that anyone else? Yeah.
We keep your
Go
data
ahead.
safe. I think that who else can say that? Like, can anybody else say that? So the idea here is these are
Hmm.
those devil's advocate consulting cards where you're like, hey, as the facilitator, I've seen 12 other companies say this, but can we own it?
Hmm.
Is there a different way that we can say this? And so this is how you get that unique. Because again, as practitioners, as technical people, we're so very close to our own solution.
Hmm.
We often don't know that the competition or the market language is kind of in the same vein that we're in, right? So this helps us identify and take a step back and be a little bit more removed from the story. So let's see how
Yeah,
many.
and these focus cards, if anyone's under wants to know where they're coming from magically, I usually have what I have off to the side as a swipe file, right? Now, if you're running this workshop with your team or anything, you could just have them in a bank off to the side, and not only you, but maybe other people in the room could throw the cards as well if they're starting to see things. So if you have them on the board with you, you could just copy and paste them or click, hold, and drag them over. For us in this one, we didn't want anyone to see the cards ahead of time, and you might do it that way. And so we have it on a separate Miro board that we copy and paste when we're ready to use them and throw that card and say, okay, let's explain this one more, or let's flip this one, let's own it. There's one called reverse it, right?
Yeah,
There's all these things to help kind of keep that conversation going.
yeah, exactly. So let's move down to the other card. So we have to pretend that we had 3 hours, and we did not have 3 hours today. But I do want to talk about what mantras and proof points are for you guys, because you've been asking. So again, mantras are those little bits of language, little turns of phrases, those things that are part of your culture. Maybe they're part of your character, but they're also part of the culture and character of your audience. So if you can listen very closely to what your audience is saying and slip those in here and there, so they're not taglines or slogans. They shouldn't be super rehearsed. They should be really authentic. They do make very good taglines, but they have to come from the heart. So one of mine is get noticed, get remembered, and get results. And I say that all the time. That happens to line up with emotion, logic, and credibility very nicely, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not really a tagline. It's just what I do. So again,
Yeah.
these
One
prompts
of
would
the
say, yeah,
oh, I was gonna say one of the ones I like to say is I like turn criticism into curiosity. Right, that's one of the things that I like to do with sessions, and then also I take inspiration from others. So I love Gary Ware and how he introduces play into sessions, and so he has this thing that it's actually a quote from his book, but I feel like it should be his mantra: is childlike is not childish. Right. So these are types of things when we say mantra.
right. So, what do you find yourself repeating often? What do you hear other people saying often? And can you
Hmm.
incorporate that? So mantras, you need a
Yeah.
couple of those. The last one we'll talk about really are the proof points. So again, these are really where the gut level comes in. This is that credibility. A lot of credibility comes out here, but most people, again, they run straight to the metric. So this is very much like values. People go tangible immediately. So yes, we want to talk about metrics, but we can also talk about outcomes. And so it's important to gather those and have those in a bank for your team in a system where you can pull those up. And I love this one, Testify. Rachel, can you just click on Testify real fast? Just
Yeah.
flip
Yeah.
us over to that card. Testify is one of my favorites. It's like talking about yourself is weird. What can you get somebody else to say about you, right? And it's okay. You can pre-plan this, so you can be like, what do I want people to talk about? Can I then start delivering on a client or
What would
a
you say
customer
about me,
experience
Joel?
about you? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Rachel is the hardest worker that I know. Like when we were building this board up at all hours, like I tweak this, I tweak that, like perfection. I love it. And I
I'm
love
a
how you
recovering
brought this.
perfectionist.
I love how you brought my cards to life in a Miro board. This is so
Oh,
much fun. So let's jump into what we do with all these cards. So again, we don't have the time to do the full workshop. Technicals are kind of at the bottom. You know
yeah,
these. You know what
technicals
your
are down
technicals
here.
are, right? What does it
All
do? How does
right.
it work? How much does it cost? We're gonna fly the superhero over here. So what we typically do in a workshop is we've got all these cards all over the table. Maybe we've spent 2 hours and we've got like a couple hundred cards. What we want to now do is we want to pull them together and start looking for patterns. We want to start looking for repeated words. And again, typically we would have done more than one card for each stack, but this is just an example. So what Rachel's doing is she's dragging the cards over, just doing copies so we don't break the board.
Yes.
But now we have them all. We have them all together, and what we want to do is we want to
Oh,
make
we got a
sense of
little
these.
rogue guy over
I
here.
know. I
So we're
love
gonna make
that
this we're gonna make that purple just to this
purple.
color. All right. So go ahead, Joel.
Oh, go ahead. Show us the
Yeah.
cluster. This is
Oh,
this.
okay.
I
We're gonna
love
do a
this
little
one.
cluster by color. Yes, we love this. So we're gonna do a little cluster by color here. If you highlight all of them. Now, when you're doing this with a larger workshop, you're gonna have more than one answer to each of those prompts. And that's the whole point of pulling them all together by color. It's a little different this time because we only answered one question per color, and that's okay. So we're gonna go ahead and cluster by color. And you'll see here it goes ahead and just puts them in the neat little things here. So now we can easily name each of these clusters. So this was values, I believe, if I remember correctly, is
Values.
green. And then blue is stories. And purple was ideas. Now, what we need to do here is get rid of the blank ones.
Right. So
So we'll
if
do
y'all can
that.
help, just pick a color and start deleting any of the blank stickies.
Yeah, just get rid of those so we can kind of see these easier. And we'll just delete those. And then Joel, why don't you talk through how we might cluster some of this?
Right. So the idea here is let's just take a look at the big ideas. And what I want to do is just see if there are any phrases that are repeated. So we're talking about data privacy. So we've got a couple data privacy things. So we could actually pull, I know that digital footprint belongs under data privacy, protect their data. Hide in the open. Oh, I kind of like that one. Superhero cloaking kind of feels like hiding in the open. So again, anonymous community system that will hide their location. So what we start doing, and you can go ahead and help us out with this, is you can start dragging together things that feel like they belong to each other. So latest tech for superheroes, Iron Man, all those types of things. No one is protecting superheroes using an app. That's our opportunity. So again, and then we can create clustered names. So, again, we're zipping through this really quickly for time, but the idea is we start to see those patterns. We start to see things where maybe the team isn't even aware that they've done this. So sometimes I'll do this workshop and I'll have like 8 people in the room and I'll have a lot of different stories and big ideas and mantras that all kind of have a vibe. And then I'll say, hey, there's a definite feeling here of this story. Have you guys ever used that in your messaging? And 9 times out of 10, they're like, we had no idea we were all even thinking that, right? So what this does is this helps you find that alignment, but it also helps you find discord. So where people are disagreeing, where you might have some things that don't work. So we have this one here.
Or don't use a single cluster, right? Single
Yeah, so
sticky out there, one
So
thing in
we've
it.
got, we've got superheroes don't like technology. Probably true, but is that true of all superheroes? We can start identifying those thoughts that don't
Yeah.
belong, and we can make decisions that, hey, these don't belong here. And then somebody dragged a blue one, a story one over into data privacy. Exactly. We can start doing that. We can
Yeah.
then start to snap together our elements and see how can we start to build out a great story. So again, this is like step one. What we do once we have everything clustered together is I pull everything into like a Notion board or an Excel spreadsheet and I tag it by emotion, logic, credibility, and I give them the list of everything you could potentially want to talk about. It's almost like that Cheesecake Factory menu that's almost way too much for any one person to comprehend, but everything is there and available. And
Oh
then you
man,
have to
that
think,
menu.
Ah, it keeps getting bigger. Then you have to
It
decide,
does.
like, what are those combo platters? What's the lunch special? If I'm doing social media, I should be talking ideas and stories and a little bit of mantra. If I'm doing a white paper, 100%, I should use all the technical details, but don't forget to include some mantras and some values. So again, it gives you that guidance when you're executing on the content. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is awesome. Maybe Rachel, maybe we can do a little bit of clustering afterwards before the board um, goes read only for everybody. But
Yeah.
this has
I'm
been
just adding your little
amazing.
formula here. So, if you were to take this, right, idea, let's do a little plus sign here,
I love
plus
it.
story, plus value, right? That's kind of what Joel was just talking about there. So we've got about 15 minutes left. So I think what we want to do is get a little feedback on the session and look at what we liked, what we wonder, what we wish. And so we could start answering some questions. And you can also put your questions on the board. But let's bring us over to a little feedback now. So we know like what else you want to learn about that we didn't talk about actually. So let's bring everyone to me. So first we want to know, what did you think? Now we've got our yellow lightning bolts. Want you to drag it over here on what you thought of the session. Were you a little sad face, smiley face, somewhere in between? You could grab lightning bolts from the top or bottom. Everyone kind of could come over to me here on the what do you think board. All right. Looks like we
Again,
got another question here.
this whole
Oh,
process was definitely rushed, right? Obviously, we would take more time to do this, but I think you can just see when you take a step back and when you're collecting, the perspectives from people across your organization, you're going to actually be able to build a messaging system that everybody can get on board with, everybody can adopt, which is that's what I
yeah,
love about this
yeah.
experience, and I
We've
love
got
doing
we've
this in
got
Miro.
we got a quick question in the chat, and then I see some people are actually saying I like, I wish, I wonder, starting to fill that out. And you could always do this with a group after each time you're on the card sets. Do what did you like about what we did? What did you wish we did? What do you wonder for the future? So it looks like we got a quick question about Gary Ware there. It's actually uh, Gary Ware. His last name is spelled Ware, and he wrote a great book, Playful Rebellion, and that's where I got that quote from. Look him up; he's fantastic. And then also on the board here, you'll see a lot of really great illustrations I've used, and Lucy actually created all the boards for distributed. Plus, I used her illustrations for this board. And if you're interested in that at all, you can actually find her on the speaker showcase as well. And so I think we've got about 3 minutes left. Let's look at some of these I like, I wish, I wonder real quick, and then we'll go to our closing slide, Joel.
All right, let's see. I like the method. Thank you. The visuals. Rach, that's a hat tip to
That's I was
you.
just talking about the visuals, yeah.
The interaction, easily understood example. I hope so. I mean, again, this is not rocket science. And one of the problems with technical communications is we just get academic with it. And sometimes we've got to have some fun, right? We got to put on our superhero underwear
That
and
joy.
have some fun. Yeah, some joy.
All right. What
More
do we
time.
wish?
I know. I
Yeah.
wish we had more time. Yeah. And again, so if you want more time, I am available to talk about the method. If you buy a deck of cards, it also comes with a coaching session with me to learn how to use the cards, and I'm also available to do this. Right. So as a consultant,
Yeah.
I can do it for you. You can do it
Mhm.
yourself, and I also do a coaching model where I do it with you. All
Yeah.
right. And so bring you along, make it very easy.
Yeah. Joel, this is a great one, and we should think about putting this into your template, a high level path before starting. Like
Oh, I do like
understand,
that.
yeah, that's a great one. I'm not sure who wrote that, but that is a great, and this is what's great about retrospectives and workshops. So we've only got a minute left here. Let's throw up our closing slide, Joel,
All
just so we
right.
have that up on here.
Let me switch on over to that. All right. Awesome. So again, it's been a real honor. Thanks to Miro for having us. Thanks to Rachel for making this possible, because this was so much fun. If you're interested in how the message deck works, again, you can go to my website. It's messagespecs.com/message deck. And right now, probably for the rest of the next month, I'm going to have a coupon code distributed 23 for 23% off of the cards, the digital version, any other goodies I can think of. And then you can always reach out to me to learn about working with me. And Rachel, please.
Yeah,
Take it away.
you can contact me by just going to my Bento page, which is my hub for everything, bento.me/Rach Davis. You'll find resources, templates, future workshops, and I think we just want to thank everyone for joining us today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I
Yeah.
think we are still recording, but I think our streaming might be ended. Real pleasure,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we'll make sure that you have the links that you need. I think our moderator threw some of those in the chat for you. So please reach out to us. Check out that speaker showcase. And we'll see you next time. Maybe you'll reach out to Joel individually and get one of those consulting sessions.
I think we're
I need one of those, Joel.
We must be done. We might be done. Yay. High five. High five.